All those who seek power of necromancy follow the Order of Black Worm. This cult takes part as one of the first villains in Elder Scrolls Online, from Planemeld to their involvement in Free Banner War, and now they want to unravel their vile plans on Isle of Solstice. But who are they? As famous battle mage once said, the knowledge of enemy mage's mind is of the foremost importance. Once you know his mind, you know his weakness. This text emphasizes that understanding your opponent is key to exploiting their vulnerabilities. With this in mind, we will try to understand who the Order of Black Worm is, what is their story, and what part do they take on this Isle of Solstice. Before we dive in, a fair warning, as this video will contain minor spoilers for the Season of the Worm Cult Part 1. Now sit back, relax, and let's dive in. Hello everyone, Sayphex here. The Worm Cult is a cult dedicated to necromancy, magic that manipulates the souls and corpses of the dead. It was founded by Mannimarco. He was not only their leader, but he also became a being of worship. His history is heavily connected to the story of the Worm Cult. Where Mannimarco is, there is his Order of the Black Worm. This is why this video will contain some parts of his history and not only the history of the Worm Cult. Mannimarco was originally a member of Psijic Order, spending much of his youth experimenting on his necromancy on the Isle of Artaeum. After he was discovered by Vanus Galerian and later expelled from Artaeum to Tamriel, he continued his work and founded the Order of the Black Worm. This all happened around the year 230 in the Second Era, about 350 years before Planemeld and the events of Elder Scrolls Online. The cult operated in cells, or worm nests as they called them. This worked as guild halls, so to speak. Each of them was led by a worm anchorite, who had a direct communication with Mannimarco. The mechanics of their direct communication is still unknown. One of such characters is Wormblood, Mannimarco's chosen successor in the Season of the Worm Cult. Then, each cell is also supervised by adepts, for example, Mage Farinor, who purposefully disrupted the portal of Alliance representatives in the same questline. The cult also have worm warriors and thralls who serve in minor tasks and experiments. Mannimarco and his worm cult were part of many sinister plots in Elder Scrolls. Mannimarco's influence didn't end with the founding of his cult. He wormed his way into the very heart of Tamrielic politics. When Varen Aquilarius rose up against Emperor Leovic during the Colovian Revolt, Mannimarco stood right at his side as his advisor. With Varen's victory, he became emperor, and Mannimarco gained a place of immense power as his trusted advisor. Not long after, around year 578 in Second Era, Mannimarco joined the Five Companions, a group made up of Varen, Lyris Titanborn, Saisahan, Abnor Tarn. Their mission was to recover the Amulet of Kings and use it to solidify Varen's claim to the Ruby Throne. But of course, Mannimarco had his own agenda. He twisted the ritual into something far darker, causing the catastrophic event we know now as the Soulburst. The explosion of arcane energy not only consumed Varen and cast him into the unknown, but it also opened the portal for Morlag Baal's grand scheme, the Planemeld. An attempt to fuse Nirn with Cold Harbor. In the chaos that followed, Mannimarco maneuvered with precision. He sowed lies, framing Lyris and Sai for Empress' supposed death, while luring Abnor Tarn into reluctant cooperation. Saisahan, however, escaped with the amulet, hiding it deep in Sancretor. This left Mannimarco free to pull strings of Empire itself. With Empress Regent Clivia Tharn under his influence, The Mages Guild was expelled from Imperial City, and the Worm Cult spread its shadows across Citadel without resistance. But the Mannimarco's ambitions weren't limited to Citadel. His shadow stretched across every corner of Tamriel, starting unrest in each of the great alliances. In the Dominion, he ensnared Estre, once a leader of Veiled Heritance, and bent her to rebellion to Molag Bal's will. What had begun as a movement against Iran's rule became something darker. Assassinations in the Iridion, riots in Skywatch, and flames consuming temples one thought touchable. Every act carried Mannimarco's mark, weakening the Dominion from inside while Molag Bal pressed from beyond. In the territories of Ebonheart Pact, the Worm Cult allied with Richmond clans, who launched an attack on the Rift. They sought to resurrect Hive giant Sinmur, the same giant who fought against Ysgramor back in Merethic era. This living weapon meant to tear Pact's fragile unity apart and plunge Skyrim into chaos. And in the West, even the proud Covenant was not safe. Mannimarco's notes, scraps of his dark wisdom, fell into the hands of 7th Legion. With them, they shackled the honored spirits of Hel Shira, twisting guardians into slaves. Once stood watch over the Bretons' tombs, now served as instruments of conquest. The Covenant's very heritage was turned against them. Proof that the King of the Worms could corrupt not just the flesh, but also the memory and tradition. Eventually, his schemes reached its peak when Molag Bal's forces stormed the Imperial City. Legion Zero, corrupted by Mannimarco, betrayed the fellow soldiers and delivered the capital into the Daedric hands. The Empire fractured and its card carved out from within by the King of Worms himself. But Mannimarco's greatest miscalculation was yet to come. In his service to Molag Bal, he performed the ritual that inadvertently created the Vestige, the very hero for whom he rose to oppose him. While he plotted to seize the amulet of Kims for himself, dreaming not only of serving Molag Bal, but of replacing him as a god. His betrayal backfired. The Vestige and the reformed companions stood against him, and Mannimarco fell. His soul was claimed in Molag Bal, dragged in Cold Harbor to suffer eternal torment for his treachery. This was a short overview of the story of the Planemeld, where the Worm Cult was the main villain of the story. But they continued in Season of the Worm Cult. Even after Mannimarco's fall, the Order of the Black Worm endured, working in shadows to rebuild its strength. In the first part of the Season of the Worm Cult, we see the cult rising again in the Isle of Solstice under Wormblood, Mannimarco's chosen successor. The cult is already shaping itself into a new force, subtly spreading corruption and preparing for greater schemes, and what they will do remains unknown. This only is the beginning of the Worm Cult's resurgence. If you have enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe for more Elder Scrolls content. In the upcoming videos, we'll explore the Black Gem Foundry, Nai Kaldesh, and the Riding Wall, uncovering the secrets and dark magic that fuel the Worm Cult's power. Thanks for watching, now have a great day, and goodbye.